Welcome back to Unranked Podcast here. You have Elijah alongside Grant. We're gonna just kind of chopping it up before in production, talking about just some of the Lions' woes, and but we're gonna jump in firsthand to Michigan, great road victory versus Iowa. It's kind of firsthand thoughts over to you. How do you feel
Yeah,
about after getting a good road victory down in Iowa City?
yeah. No, I was impressed all around with that victory. Like I said, we know how difficult it is to win down there. Um, yeah, like five of the last six teams in the top five have ended up losing because going down there. I think something that's really important that that we were able to do is just break the streak of losing down there. It's like '05. I mean, that was just like I think it was a solid like program win. I mean, even obviously we beat them down pretty bad in the Big Ten championship to win our first Big Ten championship in a while, but I just think this is good, like a statement, like program win, just checking off another drought, or just not having success against a specific team in the Big Ten. But yeah, I think overall it was just I was impressed. I mean, JJ, numbers weren't crazy, but I mean, I feel like he controlled the game. Um, you know, you just saw he felt very comfortable. Defense stepped up. Blake Corum was Blake Corum. I mean, he put the team on his back, this week yet again, and yeah, I mean, very improvements all around, especially on the D line, because I know that was something that we were pretty concerned about. So I was just glad to see improvements in like some areas where there were concerns from last week.
Yeah, no. So I would just going into the game. We hadn't won down there in quite a while. We kind of had still like a bad overall feeling or taste as far
Yeah,
as losing in 2016 when we had a shot at the playoff. And so all that being considered, it was just a good solid road victory versus a team that we'll see how well they turn out overall, but a team that definitely coming into this was looked at as a pretty tough defense.
yep,
Obviously, very hard to win down there in general. Like you said, they're known for knocking off high ranked teams when you go down there. So I also read that this now with this win now, and obviously beating Ohio last year, or no, with this win now, that would be Jim Harbaugh has a win in is it every stadium, and then now in the Big Ten or something like that. So
mm,
yeah, maybe not if we get Ohio. I forgot that might have been at home, but regardless, I just think that's a solid victory. JJ played well. The one play that definitely stands out is when he broke pocket, and kind
oh
of and
yeah,
rolled out and had it and slung it into the end zone for a nice touchdown.
yep,
That was one of those plays that just lets you know that that's why we decided to roll with him overall. That's a play that I don't know if Cade is making. That in a different scenario that might be a sack or just get back to a line of scrimmage for us a touchdown in a broken play. So
mm-hmm,
I think those type of plays are why we decided to go with him. You mentioned Blake Corum. Just really a phenomenal back, showing why he's probably the best back in the Big Ten. Leading the country in touchdowns, just overall, and doing the dirty work. We were both all off season talking about, do we have a guy that can get the short yardage, and he seems to be able to do that. He can lower his head, get lost behind the line, get lost behind the big boys up front, and kind of
mm-hmm,
pops out on the other side for a couple yard gain in all the short yardage. So I overall I feel very good about it. A lot of things you can hang your hat on. Defense played very well, stepped up phenomenally in
yep,
that last drive, last series when obviously the game was kind of on the line, or not really on the line. The game was kind of in the bag, but also one of those moments where because you could just clinch down like that. That was championship football.
yep,
Just dismantled that offense for four straight plays. And
mm-hmm,
that was something I was very hyped about in my basement watching that game.
yeah.
So um,
Yeah, just like making plays, like that was a situation where you like 4 or 5 years ago, like they're scoring there. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think it was just like they were kind of driving on us, and I mean, you know, that just kind of like it starts to happen after a while. Like we just kind of took the run away from them, but to get all the way down there to like the 2 yard line and just stop them. I mean, I guess that to me that was a pretty big stop. So I mean, I was doing the same thing, got a fist pumping. Like I thought that was a real solid defensive stand. It's something you haven't seen in previous years. So
Yeah, no, 100%. So, overall, some of the things that we've continued to talk about is, who's going to jump out on that defensive front.
Yep.
And I think, in that last series alone, you can kind of see who stood out. Um, when it really came down to who they had in the game and who, I mean, I really, that was just impressive. Just the different moves that more, what was it,
Mike
more,
Morris.
he was, he put like two or three different moves on the guy. You could watch that and show that as like a blueprint of how to play defensive end
Each
for,
tape. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
so, a couple of two or three technique, in the same series.
Hmm.
Overall, I really did feel good about it. And, Corum, got to give him his love. He, at the end of the game, near the end of the game, he put his foot in the ground, made that linebacker look crazy.
Right.
He
The
broke
All
it off for a
American.
touchdown. And he's the real deal, obviously. He's well on
Yeah.
his way to, I don't want to say awards, but he's well on his way to, just proving he's one of the best backs in the country.
Yep.
And you can give it to him, uh, every drive for 20, 30 rushes, and he's going to withstand it. So,
Yeah. No, it's unfair that Blake Blake Corum's being coached by Mike Hart. Like that's literally like,
yeah.
I mean, they're the same size, height, or yeah, weight. Like, I mean, how he's able to just jump in and out of holes like that. We could really see it like when we were at the game, when they were playing Maryland, being like behind the offense sometimes, just where that hole would be open, and he would kind of shift in and out, and then kind of get back in there and just get to like the next level. And they gave it to him 29 times again. Like I know, I'm sure, obviously that was, they don't want to work in Donovan Edwards like too heavy his first game back, but I mean, he's showing that he can, he can carry that load, and I'm just impressed by seeing him be able to convert, on third and short. We still had a little trouble on that here and there, just like behind like that, what I'm saying, kind of like our bread and butter to convert on them like short and like medium of downs, third down, but um, he came through in the clutch. I mean, he made things very comfortable for McCarthy. I do feel like Donovan Edwards being back made that things a lot more comfortable with McCarthy. Dumped it down to him a couple different times in the flat. I think he might have picked up a first down or two. So, and we're still just like not even scratching the surface. I feel like on offense overall, like we're just
Yeah,
it's a lot.
he's still missing deep balls. He's,
Right.
still, yeah. I mean, and the negative side of that, yeah, he hasn't been, once we started playing higher level competition. He hasn't hit the deep balls like he was versus Hawaii or like he was versus UConn.
Yeah.
Uh, Also, he seems to like to change the play, or calls out an audible, and he got a couple delayed games. Just things that might come back to really haunt you versus Penn
Yep.
State, versus Ohio, versus Michigan State. Even, they can come back to haunt you if you're playing too sloppy like that.
Yep.
But overall, no turnovers for him so far this season. It's crazy because I felt like he was fumbling like crazy in person, but he never lost one. Uh,
Yeah.
so overall he's playing well. Just kind of like you said, I do think we're still just scratching the surface. If we can put together a couple other things, and really working all those players, we're still trying to figure out what's the receiving core look like, and who's going
Right.
to be out there with who, and yeah,
Yeah, that's a good point because I mean it's because like you're barely seeing Andrew Anthony, but like you see him. I feel like you only see him like 10, 12 plays, and then he catches like a 25-yard like a little post route, and it's like, man, like we could really use more of that. Roman Wilson has like 5 touchdowns on like 10 touches, so I think I hope we can kind of start to open things up a little bit more. But I think they are just like start, still, probably a little conservative with it. Don't want to open up the playbook too much, especially in that environment. Like, we get back home and, we back somewhere he's like comfortable, they'll probably start to get more aggressive, but I think they played it smart, just kind of letting, Blake kind of carry us and just having JJ really just managing the game. Yeah. And I just, but he's showing flashes though, like I said, that rolling out, seeing that Donovan Edwards in the end zone for a touchdown. I mean, that was a great play. I think that was like a defining play. So the offense, they're clicking, but I mean, I feel like it's kind of looking like that defense. They might be kind of like the anchor for us, here and there. I know, obviously, Iowa, they're not not the greatest on offense, but yeah, I still feel like they made key plays and key downs. That's important too. So,
Yeah, no, 100%. And just the final point, I do think, just I think it came to me that was Harbaugh was a player or coach for that winning
oh, winning
it.
in every
Yeah,
okay, yeah,
but yeah, no. Anything else to wrap up on Michigan? I think obviously this coming up Wednesday, we're gonna dive into the Indiana game they've got coming up.
yeah.
But
I'll just say I'm impressed. Yabi Oki. That's what we've been looking for, and he just, I feel like he just kind of clicked for him.
he turned it on. Yeah,
Yeah, they gave him, more opportunity to kind of be out there, and it might be him and Morris. I know Derek
Woo.
Morris get a little more run. Got the freshman Mason Graham at 55. He came in, got his own sack. Monty Smith still commanding double teams, so I'm feeling a lot more comfortable about that D line after this past week. So
yeah, no, 100%, 100%. And just to kind of turn the page to a team that is coming off a tough loss, like literally probably what 2 hours ago, 2.5 hours ago.
yeah,
That's Detroit Lions. Played the Seattle Seahawks at home. A game that high scoring game. They were up into the mid upper 40s, 48-45. A tough loss. But down a bunch of players. That's kind of the one thing I can kind of, if I'm going to shoot them any bell, it's just how beat up the roster is coming in. But
yeah,
overall, kind of what was your thoughts? Kind of
and
quick thoughts on just a tough loss.
yeah. I I don't know. It's just one of these like you don't really know how to feel. I mean, I can sit up here and just be all frustrated and say the same about Lions, but you also look and like half the offense was out. They got guys that are still waiting to come back. Onto the defensive side of the ball. But man, I mean, it's still just tough, like watching just guys like wide open. I mean, and no offense to like any of these players, because I mean they're in the NFL, and they're getting paid and working out just like everybody else. But I mean, these guys like Geno Smith, career backup pretty much came in and just had like five or six completions, 300 yards, three touchdowns. You know, just we're not letting, they're not stopping them at all. They're just
Not at
going up
all.
and down the field. I mean, that's really what's given us pretty much the opportunity to have time to come back in these games is because we're just letting people come up down the field on us so quickly. So there's just so much more time for us to make a comeback. I commend the fighting and, them just like really, coming back. You could easily lay down and lose by 30, 40 points, but man, it's also like there's opportunities where you find a way to come back and maybe tie the game, and you can't get a stop on 3rd and 5. Like I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't really know what to think overall, but there's some bright spots, but there's also spots where I'm just like, this is just what we are continuing to do, and we just keep continuing to shoot ourselves in the foot. And but yeah, like I said, you got to give them credit for some of the way they did with having a lot of guys out injured on offense, but it still kind of sucks to lose in that fashion.
Yeah, no. So I mean, this is at one point in the game. I was texting my dad, and I looked up, and Geno Smith was like 16 of 18 for like 205 and two touchdowns, and it's just like they're playing pitch and catch at this point. They were going up and down the field. Occasionally something would go wrong, and they wouldn't get a first down, but it usually wasn't because of something that we did to stop them. You
Yeah,
know, over, and they're a bad team. To be honest, they were 1-2 as well, or 1-3. It's I don't know. I just think we talked about this before, but this is one of the games that people had pre-marked as a victory. We're going to get to 6 or 7 wins. We thought we had this one.
yeah,
So we can't do that too many more times where we think we're going to get one that we had marked down as a victory that comes across as a loss. So I don't know. It's kind of just weird. They're beat up overall. And then I don't know. I don't want to just dwell on it too much, but then it makes you wonder. Like we can't stop anybody. And
yeah,
it's and then it makes you wonder. Why we have kind of potentially the best receiver in the draft sitting there injured on the sideline. Um, when we gave up two other additional picks that turned into defensive players in the league. I don't know. It's kind of just like, where you begin to see the big picture if you question things like that. Like, okay, well, we could have had two other defensive players, in like N'Kobe Dean or whoever else you wanted to go with at those moments, when we traded those picks, when we traded that pick to move up, and now we can't stop anybody. That
Yeah,
player's not playing. It's kind of, it's ridiculous. So,
it's so bad.
yeah, man, I don't know. So, but uh, I guess the one bright spot, if I'm gonna give any bright spot, is this is the best game I would say Hawkinson has played. He's
Yeah,
he when I seen him catch that route up the sideline and turn it up for like what 80 yards or something. That was
impressive,
yeah,
very
that was
impressive.
impressive. That was little extra
Got
juice in
some
the tank.
firepower, man.
Yeah, little extra juice in the tank. That would have been an awesome play for a touchdown.
Yeah,
But he had flashes where I'm like, okay, you know maybe he can be that difference maker that we think that he should be with
right.
we drafted him at. But yeah, man, I don't know. I think we're gonna see a little bit. It's gonna get darker sooner rather than later. When we start to look at these are some of the, like I said, the teams that we had marked as should be victories.
We scored the most points in the NFL at 140, and we're 1-3. We
That's,
scored 140, but we've given up like 165.
yeah,
No, I'd say probably more, only really like 150, 160. So we've been pretty much in every game, so far this season.
two 3-point losses. Yeah,
Yeah, it's weird. Like I said, but I'm with you. I mean, I feel like if we're in this rebuilding stage, I felt like we kind of severely neglected the defense in the draft this year. I mean, we got Rodrigo. I mean, it's all great and all. I mean, he's doing all these great things, but that's just one guy. That was a sixth rounder. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's holding his own, but like it's just I don't know. I just don't understand how like we just really didn't. And like I said, I know we got guys out there supposed to come back and and help, but sometimes even like the scheme. I mean, I'm watching these guys. Like these guys are wide open. Like I don't know if it's a miscommunication thing. Like Metcalf. I mean, he just
yeah, and Metcalf.
130 yards, like 4 or 5 catches. Just guys, they're
No, I
yeah,
think yeah, I think he had like 7 for 149. Um, but no, and he called you out. I mean, Okuda was, let's just be honest. He said what it was, and went out there. And the funny part was, I was taking notes for the game, and I literally wrote down. At this point, he had two catches for 44 yards, and I wrote down, what is a lockup? Question mark. And I'm thinking, okay, so, and then literally the next series, he caught the 50-yard bomb. And I was like, okay, well, it's not 97, it ain't 95 yards. I know that. So,
yeah,
um, yeah, no, it was
yeah.
kind of like, and, but overall, I guess that's a separate question. If for what can you consider a lockup? As far as
Yeah,
if we're
I
call
would
out,
consider. Yeah, I mean, I consider what he did, with Jefferson last week. Like Jefferson had like 2, 3 catches, like 30 yards. Like that was it.
Mhm.
I mean, I think but today, I mean, it was like it shows in the yards, but it also showed in the field. Like he was literally just going up over top of him and just coming down with like, the
Oh,
ball, like 30, 40 yard gains. I mean, I think he literally at one point he had 2 catches for 81 yards on Okuda, 1-on-1, just them two. So
yeah,
I don't know what it looks like when he has
he
safety help.
finished for 7 for 149. No touchdowns, but and then that's an average of 21 yards a ball.
That's nuts.
And he almost had that one in the end zone when he was
Oh
kind of double
yeah,
coverage. If you know
yeah,
different a step or two away, that's a different ball right there. So,
yeah,
but overall, I would just say that goes back to you can't you know I mean, Geno Smith had 320, two tubs. It's just like I don't know. Yeah,
it's laughable. Like I said, I mean, like I said, I think we just swung. I don't know. We'll see what Jefferson Williams is going to do. But like this, we can't continue to there's just so many things wrong with how like these things are how things are going right now. It's gonna get worse. Like
Yeah,
we're giving up 48 points to the Seahawks. Like they're only projected to probably win like 5 or 6 games this year. I mean, obviously that could be a different story, but like that they were favored by a touchdown in that game. And I get people are hurt and out, but like it's just getting I don't know, just letting guys just run scot free like that, just by themselves every single time, like not get off the field. That's a huge issue. And it's only gonna get worse.
yeah. No, I mean, and let's say Jameson Williams comes back. Obviously, I think he will be a solid player, but
Yeah.
the idea is we're going to outscore people. That's kind of at throwing him in there, we would have got another field goal. And we haven't got into the fact that we missed how many extra points and field goals, and it's just an overall bad situation. But looking ahead, New England, they're I'm not sure where it is right now, but when I turn it on, they were tied up with Green Bay right now, so they're playing tough. Um, their quarterback was, I don't know if Mac Jones will be back by next week or not, but it's going to be interesting to see what that looks like. And in Dallas, Cooper Rush seems to be balling out. So either
Yeah.
him or Dak, whoever you're going to run into, that's not going to be easy. Then you
Right.
got
You got
Miami, Green Bay. I mean, it's going, you know,
because those are crazy offenses. Like, I mean, Patriots. I mean, they are tied up right now in Green Bay, and they are who they are. But like, I mean, you can't let. They already had Hoyer knocked out. Got this. They got the third string in right now. Then you got, like I said, I don't know if Dak will be back or not, but just like I said a couple weeks back, it's got to take advantage of these opportunities. Like this is why it would have been great to snag that Minnesota victory.
mhm.
Just because you had all these guys banged up the next game. Now you drop two because so you're already kind of like reeling now. You got one of your best players. You're not gonna get him back until like the 23rd. So I don't know I don't really know what to expect. But I mean, I guess you got to commend that they're playing hard. But when are we gonna just not allow ourselves to go down by 2 touchdowns out the
Yeah.
gate? Just pretty
Well,
much.
100%. So we talked about this last episode, but breaking the season into like quadrants,
Yeah.
and that's the first quadrant. You came out of that. You came out of quadrant one, 1 and 3. So now you're going to look to quadrant two, which is coming up here, and I would say you don't want to lose. Obviously you probably want to at least go 50%. So I think to start that out at New England, at Dallas, that's tough. And I think, then you got Miami back at home. Tua might be back by then. He had him running and gunning. They looked great when he was playing. So, and
Yeah.
then you got same old Green Bay. I just kind of look at it that next 4 games. That's a lot tougher than your first 4.
Mm-hmm.
Those are real playoff type teams, or maybe not New England so much, but the rest of them playoff type teams. And I don't know. I just kind of think that's tough. And then
Yeah.
we joked about this beforehand, but good God, what is Buffalo going to do to them on Thanksgiving? It's going to be, uh, yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah,
Yeah, like I said, letting no offense to Geno Smith, but letting him get off like that. I mean, like he was an NFL backer for a reason. You know what I'm saying? So like it, and like 5 or 6 incompletions, like that's it. So I mean, like you said, that's a scrimmage. They're playing against air pretty much. So yeah, like I said, we'll see what happens next week. I mean, yeah, I don't. I'm just we'll see what kind of adjustments need to be made. I mean, guys are just out of. They're not even in like position. There was just a lot going on there from a scheme standpoint and just from a personnel standpoint. So not a great start to the season so far.
yeah, no, I agree. You got anything else for the people?
That's all I got.
All right, we'll be back at you Wednesday with just looking forward to what both teams are gonna have for the weekend. I think what we got we just talked about it. With New England and
Michigan
India.
going to Indiana.
Yep, yeah.
Yep.
So we'll be back Wednesday.
All right. Peace out.